Hey everyone, how's it going? Octopus here and welcome back to evercrisis. New banner out, new content, new battle ranking or dungeon ranking, which is actually really good. I'm enjoying it. But Sephiroth just came out with a new Arcanum, new weapon, and this is our second crossover banner. At the moment, you can pull on this, you can skip on this. So far, it seems either way, and it's no problem. It is a limited banner, so be careful if you're not going deep. You're going to be using a lot of weapon parts, and if you already use Sephiroth's weapon parts, you're kind of screwed here because it takes a long time to get weapon parts unless you're paying for the game. So, with that in mind, because we got 10 free draw tickets, which is essentially 3,000 blue crystals, you guys can use that free 10 pull on any of the 4 banners, so you can kind of wait for the other 2 banners before you make a big decision like this. But if you are someone who needs a water Arcanum DPS, Sephiroth now offers being 2 physical and magical because he has 2 weapons that actually do this. So this new costume comes in with the water ability 35%, and it has physical defense and magic defense plus 15%. Chat was telling me his other costume was a water Arcanum with buff duration. Either one works. Duration works on the Tempest really well. This will work on overall hard content. If he's only doing straight DPS, then you don't need the buff duration. But if you don't have a costume yet, this Arcanum can be used for 2 of his weapons. So before we jump into that weapon, that's another reason, just like Yuffie has both physical and magical ice, you now have that built into one character. You don't have to build different weapons when it comes to the offhand, costume collection. So having one character do both physical and magical of an element is very good in resources, especially. But Sephiroth does have another water weapon, which is Tempest, and this goes up to 700% physical water. Not the strongest, but it does lower water resist. But that's for a physical build, and it has physical R abilities, so you do have that option of being both magic and physical water. Just to emphasize that one more time, it's pretty good. So his new weapon, though, is definitely way stronger than that. So we got Edgar's Coiled Blade. It has 940 magic water potency with a 1.2 damage multiplier if the enemy is debuffed, and most likely enemy will be debuffed in some shape or form. Magic attack down, physical attack down, defense, ice resist, or sorry, water resist. You'll get a debuff on there, so you're going to be doing over 1100 potency of magic water damage. At 693 magic attack, this thing is made to do big damage. Our abilities are really high as well, 4639, but he doesn't really have another offhand weapon that shines well with this. You could use Tempest for the water potency, and that would work, but you're missing out on the R ability of physical attack. That'll only help your Leviathan do more damage, because Leviathan takes both your physical and magic stat and does the damage off that. But overall, Triangle Sigil, 693, high potency, good R abilities, especially when the potency is that high. It makes it a very good weapon, but there's nothing else with it. No other utility, it's just damage. So when you compare this, by the way, the costume looks fantastic. In game, it looks even better than it did on the preview. I just don't like this bottom part. But overall, he looks very, very good in this. Yeah, especially if you're a Final Fantasy VI fan. But going back to the whole setup thing, if you compare this to Water Tifa, who's also magical, Water Tifa has a better setup because she has both the feather gloves and her main hand water weapon, where you can get her R abilities maxed out really fast, and then her backhand weapons can be whatever she needs, right? So it's easier to build Tifa, and Tifa also has magic defense down and water damage up, which Sephiroth doesn't have water damage up. He can only lower the water resist, which other characters will do that for you. Kate Sith, Red 13, Barrett, right? Zack, whatever the team is running, you have water resist in other places. Where Tifa's more unique in that because she'll stop DPSing in order to add magic defense down, but also raising her water damage to high, which increases a lot of damage. Also, the R abilities are fantastic. Main hand is for 6239. So even though your Tifa's gloves are not as strong as Sephiroth's, right? 850%. It does also self-buff with magic attack as you're attacking. It's just the second R ability isn't as high, but with her having feather gloves, that doesn't matter because you're going to be main-handing that one, right? So this is not really to say Sephiroth is weaker. Sephiroth is definitely stronger. If the rest of the party can buff Sephiroth exactly how Tifa buffs herself, that water potency difference is not going to make a big difference compared to Tifa's magic attack up. The whole point here is that if you have Tifa built already, don't build Sephiroth. for magic only. You can build him for his physical version if you miss his costume and you have Tempest at OB6+, right? But you can't really have both of them on the same party because there's not enough weapons to increase water potency and also have weapons to lower that water debuff if you're using them. Like Red 13's Noble Collar definitely doesn't lower defense, but it has to be shared. It's a boost attack, water potency. Tifa's going to be wearing her own gloves, so Sephiroth can't take any of her gloves. So if you have one already, don't try to fight it. You're okay in that sense. If you do put both of them, there is other weapons you can mix and match, but it's better to focus on one DPS with all that high water potency and do a bunch of damage. You could rock both still, though. Still do a lot of damage having 2 DPS out there. So overall, Sephiroth is definitely strong, though. Most likely with how high his potency is, even without the water damage up buff, and especially when we get a double summon that does raise water damage, or other characters can raise allies water damage, Sephiroth will be king in that place. His entire kit is definitely worth going for. If you are going to wishlist him, you're going to run in his main hand his new weapon, or if you have his 6-month anniversary weapon, run that instead, right? Here's an example of what it is, just in case you don't know. I guess if you don't know, then it doesn't matter to you. But when it comes to these anniversary weapons, 1st anniversary, 6-month anniversary, right? Especially Sephiroth's, main handing these weapons makes a big difference. So here's his weapon. If you have this like OB10, that 46 points gives you a 25% increase in magic attack. Not for him, but everyone as well. And he has magic ability potency. So if you have this, then you already know that just increase your boost magic attack and water potency as high as possible, right? Running his new weapon in the offhand. But if you don't have that, that's highly recommended for any of his magic builds, by the way. If you don't have that, then what you can do is run his new weapon in his main hand. And then you can run the Shinra Blade. And this is for a DPS version, right? Because you have boost attack, boost ability potency. Other good ones are Nameless. Nameless is a good option to have there. If you want survivability with only 2 ATB to break sigils, you can use Mithril type for that HP survivability, but also boosting magic attack stance. You can run that as well. Yeah, the third one is a Shinra Blade that's already there. So I would do, just for the damage wise, if you don't need to survive, then definitely go for his Shinra Blade, which is the next option over here. But now for a whole backhand, we're going to do Feather Gloves. We're going to do Red 13's Noble Collar. If Kate Sith is not in the party, his green megaphone is a really good option to put here, right? But you don't need that much water potency, so what you could do is actually run Electro Cannon. So running Electro Cannon, Noble Collar, and then Tifa's Gloves will give you high water potency at 100%. Boost magic attack is maxed. You got boost attack that's maxed. And you have really good damage overall with that. If you want to add a little bit more and lower the 10%, you could do this one. I prefer the Bazooka Noble into Feather Gloves and then new weapon and Shinra Blade offhand. That will definitely have really high damage. But again, if you're not using Kate Sith, which if you got HP Shout, use Kate Sith, because Kate Sith with his ultimate weapon is very powerful. Having that haste is crazy good, and he does have a lot of good buffs and debuffs, and he also buffs magic attack, so Sephiroth gets a lot stronger. But yeah, if you're not using Kate Sith, that's a good option. If you're using Kate Sith, put the Bazooka one on. Even so, this weapon should be wishlisted. Now, if you have any of these already at OB6, OB10, you should be wishlisting, personally, the Tempest. Because again, that makes him have a physical build and a magical build. So as you're pulling for his new weapon, you're also wishlisting some Tempest here. And that way, with his Arcanum costume, the Arcanum doesn't matter if it's physical or magical. You now have the option to do either one-on-one character. So definitely try to fit Tempest in there. Once you know what the 3 weapons or 4 weapons that are going on his kit, that 5th weapon should be Tempest. Overall, great water DPS. You can't go wrong. If you're waiting for more utility to see what Tifa is and the other character, or you like the way Aerith is, definitely great to have that utility out there and everything. But if you are missing that water DPS and you skipped every other banner that came out, Sephiroth is definitely an easy one to pick up, especially with that double physical and magical. So really good selling point there, and being the highest potency for water, I believe, in the game. He just doesn't have that water buff, but eventually more characters will do that, summons will do that, and then he'll be on par in that part, having that water buff. Yeah, but I think overall, yeah, you guys are safe to pull for this if you want to. You know what damage you need. You know what damage you guys are missing. If you already have Glenn, water potency, right, build. If you got any of those water characters already built, you technically don't need it. You can get away without it. Like currently I'm rocking the high score challenge, the dungeon ranking we're doing right now. I used the Tifa magic build that's a OB3 or OB4 water potency weapon. Really low damage, but I hit almost 3.8 million score, right? So doing okay. My water setups could be better though. But then we've had a lot of water events. I don't know if I want to pull for a water weapon after all these water events, because then is there going to be any more water events after this? Right? We had the guild battle, we had dungeon ranking, we had a lot of stuff, and Jill came out. So they might be moving on from water enemies for a while. I don't know. That's just guessing. But overall, great banner, great choices. Do what you guys want. It's a crossover. It's limited. So make sure you guys are putting blue crystals in there. And also you have a chance at Arif's ultimate weapon too on this banner. It'll be divided between all of them. But I think that's everything I covered. If I missed anything, I'll leave it in the comment section down below. You can guys catch my live streams. I did the dungeon ranking today, everything, talked about the banner. That's over on twitch.tv/SmellyOctopus. Besides all that, thank you so much for watching. Keep on smiling, and I'll smell you later.